Number 6 on your review sheet is another quadratic equation. Highest power of the variable is 2. That's what my clue is, that it's a quadratic equation. Whenever I solve problems, I'm always looking for the clues that tell me what kind of problem I have so that I can use the correct approach to solving it. Our technique for solving quadratic equations involves factoring. We can't begin factoring until we have all the terms of the polynomial on one side and 0 on the other side, and I don't have that here. So I'm going to need to make 0 on one side, and let's choose to make 0 on the right side. I don't want to move my squared term because it has a coefficient that's positive, and I want to keep my coefficient positive on the squared term of my polynomials. So I'm going to subtract 49 from both sides. That will give me the 0 that I want on the right side. I can't subtract 49 from 4x squared and combine those terms because they're not like terms. So this just becomes the binomial 4x squared minus 49. And now I'm going to see if I can factor that binomial. There's no common factor that they share. If a binomial is factorable, other than taking out the common factor, it has to be the difference of squares. This is a difference. Difference means it's a subtraction. So this is a difference. So I'm going to come over here to the side and see if I can fill out my squares skeleton. What can I square that makes 4x squared? Well, that would be 2x, wouldn't it? And what can I square that makes 49? Well, that would be 7. So this is the difference of squares. Difference of squares factors into two binomials, one with addition, one with subtraction. And what I put into the first positions is what's in the first position here of my squares skeleton. So in this case, 2x. What I put in the second positions of both binomials, it's what's in the second position of my squares skeleton. That's why I fill out that square skeleton, because it tells me what to fill in my binomials when I factor. Now, the only way this product becomes 0 is if either this quantity somehow becomes 0 or this quantity becomes 0. So I need to figure out what value of x could make this quantity become 0. What value of x could make this quantity become 0. And one way to figure that out is to simply set those quantities equal to 0 and solve the resulting linear equation that you make. If I want to know what value I could put in for x that would make this quantity become 0, set it equal to 0 and solve that linear equation, which I would do by first subtracting 7 from both sides, right? And then dividing both sides by 2. So if x was negative 7/2, this quantity would become 0. That's one of my solutions. Do the same thing with the other factor. Set it equal to 0 and solve that linear equation to figure out what value of x would make this factor become 0. I would add 7 to both sides as my next step in solving this linear equation, and then dividing by 2, I get x equals 7/2. So my two solutions to this original quadratic equation are negative 7/2 and positive 7/2.